My name is Jose Facio.
I am 21.
My name is Jana.
How are you?
How have you been? How you doing?
First interviewee to ask me that. How special.
Oh my gosh.
I grew up in California, SoCal. I'm just your typical Californian. I moved around a lot when I was younger, but the biggest thing that I always fought for was I wanted to keep my friends. I didn't want to switch schools, so no matter how far we moved around. So I was from Anaheim Hills to Orange and then back to Anaheim Hills. I stayed in the same school. I just lied to the Unified School District as to where we lived. I am 22 right now while this is being done. I'm just out here trying to survive. I'm trying to think of anything big. No, just I'm out here trying to get my degree. I'm not really sure in what direction my life is headed in. I'm kind of in a headspace where I want to do so many different things. I'm having a quarter life crisis. But yeah, other than that, that's what there is about me.
I actually moved around a lot. I grew up in Santa Ana, and then I moved to Orange, Irvine, and then Anaheim Hills is where I spent probably the longest part of my life, and then currently back in Orange. I am currently working 2 jobs. I am very outgoing and adventurous, I would like to think. And I think I'm a hard worker.
I live in Corona in Southern California. I'm 21 years old. I grew up in South Texas in the Valley, and my family life, I guess, would just be I live alone without my parents, but I do see them regularly. And my sisters live out of state, so for now it's just me seeing my parents.
I was in San Diego. It was me, my friend Elias, and my friend Mila. We were actually getting ready to go to an event, like a music festival called Crossed. I remember being dressed up in my fit for the first day, walking because we got a hotel by the venue. It's by the water, so we got the hotel and we're walking. And my friend Mila, she's just older, she's a millennial, so she's just more in the know. She was on Twitter and she was telling us about it, and I was oh my god, that's crazy. And me and Elias, we were all just being ignorant. We were just kind of oh yeah, well at least we're gonna have fun. We're just we didn't view the severity of the situation. We're literally on our way to this big party with a bunch of people. We were really just going into it.
I believe I heard about it early February, because I was actually going to study abroad in Italy, which is where the coronavirus hit hard first. And I heard about it through my coworker where I work. I have 5 bosses because they're all partners. And one of them, he's a little younger. He's a lot more the joke type of guy, and he sent me kind of as a joke. He was I don't think your trip in Italy is going to happen, and he sent me a link to coronavirus hitting Italy, and I think that's when I first heard about it.
Through my mom, who works in a hospital. She sent me this big package of hand sanitizer and masks, and I was you should start using these. And I was oh yeah, I mean, I have hand sanitizer. And she's no, things are gonna get really bad. And I was oh, okay, and then then I texted her and I asked her, and she kind of just explained what was going on and the science behind it, and I really do need to start staying indoors more and all that stuff.
when things started shutting down, I remember. Oh, okay. I remember being in my stats class, and I hate stats. I just hate math, and I just remember like being like little like evil manifestation. Like I really hope Fullerton gets shut down. I was really hoping it would progress, not necessarily like the intensity of like people getting sick, but just more of like, oh yeah, just shut school down for a little bit, you know. But I got my wish. I got my wish.
It was only supposed to be 2 weeks of quarantine.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like, it really was just supposed to be 2 weeks. Like, give me a little break, rejuvenate the mind. But yeah.
I remember going to school until the last day that they shut it down. But I was at work in my office because at the time we didn't have like work from home stuff. I mean, we all had computers, but they still had us going in because the outbreak wasn't in California at that time still. But they had us basically, our job handles COVID claims. So we got hit pretty hard and had to be there all day. Especially with school being closed, like I was able to be there all 8 hours.
It didn't really hit me until, because I like used to work at Disneyland, and it didn't hit me until like I was working there, and I realized like how many people I interact with and how many people I'm exposed to. And then I really thought like, and how so many of them are like tourists and from not the United States. And I just thought like, I really don't know like who I'm coming into contact with. And that's when it really kind of like hit me that, yeah, I really should be more careful because like this does seem to be a pretty contagious virus. And I mean, it was a pretty contagious, is a pretty contagious virus. So it didn't like really hit me until that moment working like surrounded by thousands of people that I was like, yeah, this is pretty bad. Like definitely got to get ahead of it while you can kind of thing.
I don't want to say 100% due to the pandemic, but it really added to my life sort of spiraling because like I think the most poetic way to say it is if you look at like the thing with the question that you asked about like when did I first hear about COVID, my life was really in such a good place. I was on this high because I've gone through so much like changes. I was like metamorphosized into like this beautiful butterfly because in high school I used to be really big. I used to weigh 310 pounds. Like it was like I was just like not really feeling myself in terms of confidence. And it took me graduating high school, me getting out into the real world, college, meeting people, being more outgoing, for me to like really not recreate myself, but just like come out of the shell I've always been in. When this all happened, it kind of put me in like this really dark place of feeling just like wasted potential, I guess. And it's not necessarily to blame all of the pandemic on it. I'm saying it's like it added to it, but I fell into like a really like bad depression because it was almost like that I got a taste of what my life was supposed to be, and it all just like went away. It's like nothing. And I know this isn't like a big like, oh, woe is me story, but just more of like it really put into perspective where my mindset was, you know? And unfortunately for me, it did take that whole first year of COVID to really like go through like the ringer and finally be where I am now. I'm not like necessarily like in the best place, but I'm trying to get back to where I was because I really, really miss the person I was becoming. I cannot express how like I was glowing. Like I literally walked around the world like I was hot shit, but I'm not hot shit, but I just felt like everything, you know?
Honestly, I was pretty lucky to not have anything change. The only thing that changed is I didn't leave my house pretty much for like probably 3 months. I started going out again in like July. I did lose my job over COVID. I completely forgot. I started working there right when I was 18, but I got a second job at an insurance company when I was 19, so like a year after. And I did both jobs for about a year, and then I stopped working at Disney so often. I would only work during like holidays. So I went 4 months without working and then had to go back to work for Thanksgiving, I believe it was. So I wasn't used to working there. So I feel like I got used to not being there and not seeing the people. So when I got laid off, it did suck, but I kind of forgot about it because it wasn't a big part of my life anymore. I basically had left already the year prior and would only go back when I needed to. So that was my biggest thing from 2020, I think.
I lost my job at Disney, and that was like I mean, I loved my job at Disney. Like, I've always loved working at Disney, so that was really hard because I had planned to stay at Disney for, until I was leaving like the state, or at least the area. So it was really like, it really just sucked to lose my job at Disney. But other than that, like, I feel like it's been okay.
Honestly, okay, as cheesy as it is, I would say hang in there.
Growth, discipline, and I had fun.
Yeah, so different, hopeful, and long.
Just you got this. Like, you are doing so good, and don't fall off the wagon. Like, be good to your friends. Like literally just be good to your friends, and at the end of the day, just like focus on yourself and just know anything you're doing, as long as it's not rotting away in bed, is something good.
Crystal, you need to stop worrying about what other people think about you, and you need to just focus on your perception of yourself and realize that when you're happy with yourself, nothing else is going to matter. So you need to stop worrying about what other people say, what other people think, and just worry about what makes you happy, because that's how you're going to be happy.
I'd be like, Jana, just have a good time. Just, live your life. Don't be afraid of it. Or like, obviously with something to be afraid of, but like, don't be afraid to continue living life with everything that was going on.